Hi, I'm John Brookfield. We're putting together a special DVD for you today, and very, very unique DVD. I've done a couple Kettlebell Mania, which gets into the basic of kettlebells and into some juggling, and then Dave Campbell, the football coach at Georgetown, and myself did one on kettlebells for football, rugby, and contact sports. What I'm going to do today is show you a bunch of kind of oddball kettlebell lifts that you've never seen before, most likely, also with a great emphasis on grip training. I'm going to show you a bunch of exercises you can do with the kettlebells that will greatly enhance your grip strength, kind of stuff I've invented and field tested for a while. Like I said, most likely you've probably never seen any of these before. I'm going to touch a little bit on safety, and most of these we're going to be using light kettlebells for the exercises. These kettlebells are like a couple 25-pounders, couple 35-pounders. That's probably about all you're going to want for the type of exercise that we're doing to start out. For some of these exercises I use a lot heavier kettlebells than this, but they are grip oriented and they're kind of oddball lifts. So obviously start slow and take your time, and just test these things very, very lightly. Always use safety, because it's going to put a lot of emphasis on your fingers and some of them on your wrist strength. We'll break each one of the exercises down as we go along. Like I said, we're going to be using kettlebells, 25, 30, 35 pounds or so. Okay, the first exercise I'm going to show you, and kind of a basic exercise. Some of you guys, this is going to work hand strength and your whole body. Some of you guys maybe have done this with advanced kettlebell training. Well, I'm going to show you, we're going to start with this as kind of as a fundamental for grip training, okay? And of course, you guys are familiar with the basic kettlebell swing, where you basically swing it between your legs and pull it up about chest high or head high. First initiation for this, we're just going to do it's a double kettlebell swing with a couple kettlebells. Sometimes I'll do this with a couple 70-pound kettlebells. These are a couple 35s, so we got 70 pounds. But like I said, no big deal. We're just going to do a demonstration. Once again, always start slow, get a feel of any exercise. Even if you're an experienced kettlebell user, some of this stuff's going to be very foreign to you. So we'll start off with this. We're just going to kind of overlap them like that. Just do a basic swing like this. Pull about head high, whatever. Do a couple with the left hand. Same thing. Just a basic one-hand swing with two kettlebells. You've got those two thick handles. Greatly enhances your grip strength. Be sure with all the exercise to try to do each hand equally, to get an equal workout with each hand. I'm going to show you a couple other basic exercises using two kettlebells at the same time to just make a real thick handle. You can't get your hand around it. And once again, always try to do, even though some of the time to save time I'll just be doing maybe reps with my right hand or left, but always try to do equal reps with both hands so you can develop equally. This one just basically a bent over row, where we're going to use the two kettlebells, basically like that. Keep your back straight, your hand on your other knee and thigh over here to protect your back. But you see the grip there, how that's working the grip, because my hand can't even get close to closing. Next, the other exercise I'll just go ahead and flow into is just basically similar to the row, but it's a high pull. Basically, like you were just going to pull it up to clean it or snatch it over your head. Same type of thing. You're just going to pull it up a little bit higher. Same technique there. Just pull straight up. Maintain that grip. Okay, next exercise, I'm going to show you two or three exercises I kind of invented. I used to do a lot of a course on brick crushing, where you take a bunch of bricks together and kind of crush them. Kind of got the idea for that. Very important with safety on this. Start very, very slow. We got 70 pounds total, a couple 35s. That might even feel heavy a little bit, so if you have something lighter. We'll give you a basic idea. You have your two kettlebells, you put them side by side, and you butt the bottoms up to one another. just like this. And you want to get a good solid grip on the side, kind of crush in and keep a good fingertip hold on them. Crush them in. And then just row like this. See how my hands are on the bottom? Putting the great emphasis on the finger strength, as well as working your back and your upper body. Okay, once you get kind of the feel of the basic crushing the kettlebells in and pulling them off the ground like the rowing like we just showed, you can get a little trickier. Now we're just going to basically do kind of crush it in and kind of bring it back and do a basic curl motion or hammer motion, keeping the kettlebells in close together, okay? We'll do a couple reps here. Keep them tight at all times. Keep that pressure inwards. And just bring them back to the ground. One thing, anytime that the kettlebells feel like they're going to separate, like today, it's a hot summer's day and hands are kind of slick. If the kettlebells feel like they're going to separate, just and you lose track of them, just kind of let them go to the ground and get your hands out of the middle of them. And keep your feet away. Okay, show you another exercise here. Same principle. You've seen the crushing with the rowing, crushing with the curls. Now we're going to crush them and actually go overhead with them. And one thing particular, when you press overhead, particularly like with the kettlebells together or in unison, keep it out in front of you. You don't ever want to go directly over your head with something like this or a stone, just in case you'd stumble or something, obviously to protect yourself. Just kind of keep it in front of you a little bit to work your shoulders for safety's sake. Particularly, like I said, when the weather's hot like that, I got a little chalk in my hand. It's very hot today. To give you kind of a basic idea. And this is always, it's a slow technique, because if you try to explode too fast, the kettlebells may separate. You got to go slow and keep that constant pressure crushing in, okay, with your hands and also your chest somewhat. Just press them overhead like that. It's just a short motion. Keep that pressure going inward, because they really want to fight to separate. Same way, just ease them back down to the ground. But there's 3 different exercises I kind of invented with the kettlebells. Making variations kind of fun. You can have a fun little contest with that, and also motivate yourself and challenge yourself. Okay, what we're going to do here, we're back to one kettlebell. I'm going to show you some lifts here I'm sure you've never seen before. And it's important to work your grip, but I also like to work other body parts. So we're going to implement this into some pressing, that type of thing as well. And like I said, all our kettlebells are relatively light, 25 pounds to 35. So once again, start kind of light, get a feel of it. Basically just grab your kettlebell. There's 2 ways to do this. Basically you're going to pull it into a pressing motion and just stop it there. And you're locking it the whole time, keeping the kettlebell from turning over. Which is all grip strength, okay? Just right up like that. Basically, it's between the snatch and the bottoms up press. Now, I just kind of muscle it up and stop it in flight. You may be able to do that if it's heavy for you that way. You can actually stop it with your other hand, basically just common sense. Just grab your kettlebell, place it like that, and then hold it in position. Okay? Train both hands equally. Your right hand may be stronger than your left or vice versa. Try to do equal reps even if you have to hold it. And then once you get a little more used to it, you can take 2 same weighted kettlebells or similar and try a double press. Just like that, maintain your lockout position with your kettlebells. That way you're working your shoulder. That really works on your grip. Use a little chalk. You're going to feel a lot of pressure. Maybe watch your calluses. You may have a tendency to tear a little skin if you're not careful. So always start slow. But that right there will be one of the best exercises for building grip for any kind of functional sport, combat, or anything at all. Okay, much more difficult exercise, similar to the other one. The other one basically was a press with it in the back position, the kettlebell. This one's going to be a press or lockout, whatever you want to call it, with it in the front position. In other words, it's going to be bending your hand this way, so it's much more difficult than the last, okay? Got to get a good tight grip, basically right there. Very, very difficult lift, even with almost no weight, okay? Now I kind of muscled it up and started it once again. If you can't get in that position, don't try to fight it too hard. Just simply lock your arm out with your other hand, put it in position, and just hold. Even if you can't press it, once again, lock it out in position and just hold. Anytime the weight in any angle that I'm showing you starts to twist your hand or bring your hand down, don't try to fight it. Just put your other hand there or just let it freely go to the ground, okay? Okay, what we're going to show here now, basically most of you are familiar with the bottoms up press. I'm going to show the bottoms up press, which most of you guys know, but it's a variation of something that we're going to go into. So bottoms up, you just you grab it and clean it and press it overhead. Just basically, we'll show you here. Just clean it and you press it overhead. Kind of an intermediate exercise. If you haven't done it, you've seen it. But I'm going to give you a variation. So we're going to use, you saw me how we normally would clean it. Basically, we're going to do a hammer curl, just locking that kettlebell in the same position with this 35-pound kettlebell. So it's a slow motion like a curl, where the kettlebell is kind of in front of you here like this, so it's constantly working your grip and your wrist, okay? And you don't even necessarily have to press it, you can, but basically it's just a traditional hammer curl. You're just muscling it down, or up rather, just a basic exercise. It's very slow, so it's fighting your wrist and your when you're in your grip at all time. Like I said, you can press it if you want, but the main thing is just have a slow, steady motion working against your grip with that one. Okay, going to show you a pretty difficult exercise here. Basically, it's like kind of a front lateral. Basically, like we're used to dumbbells, and you just basically grab the two dumbbells, possibly a barbell, and kind of just muscle it out like this. We're going to kind of go overhead like this. Only what we're going to do, we're going to grab the kettlebell handles and lock it out the entire way and keep the ball in front of us, hopefully. Okay? So we're going to grab the kettlebells, kind of a slow motion. Bring it overhead. Bring it down, maintain your grip. See, right when I'm fighting to get away from it. My hands are very slick. Hustle it back. A couple more times. Once again. But basically just a frontal raise, and I like to bring it overhead because when you come down, that momentum works against your grip. So even with a couple 35-pound kettlebells, that's a very, very good exercise. You can actually do that with two hands, like that. Lock it up. Always maintain your grip in the front. And of course, this way, if you'd like to go a little heavier, use a heavier kettlebell. That'll be fine. But you get the idea. One or two. Slow. Keep that grip like that. Don't let that ball slip around. Great exercise. Okay, I'm going to show you a basically kettlebell curl. Only people think of the traditional curling with the ball in the back of the forearm. Once again, we're going to keep it kind of locked out in front of us, okay? So we're going to grab the kettlebell, get tight grip, basic curl, kind of a slow concentration curl, keep it locked out. Fighting the grip and the wrist at all times, okay? I'll grab a little chalk here, and a couple of ways you can do it: double curls. You can do it individual kettlebell in hand. We'll try just a couple of those. You can actually do like a juggling curl, like that. Or you can, of course, just do basic traditional curls. Fighting that lockout at all times. You can also, with some of the kettlebells, you can get your hand in there the best you can with the bigger kettlebells. Do a traditional curl like that. Okay. Okay, another, basically you've seen the reverse curl. Simple common sense, grabbing the kettlebell by the handle. Down like that. Do them doubles. You're constantly maintaining the grip. Also, you can do a traditional kind of a hammer curl, basically on the handles back this way. Fighting the grip right there at all times. Like I said, in this one you could actually use a pretty good, fairly heavy kettlebell, even though we're doing a light one just for the demonstrations. All these are basically similar exercise you'd use with weights. But basically, we're just using the handle at all times to maintain that grip to develop strength. You guys can implement this in some after your basic kettlebell lifting into some of your routines and end off with a few sets of different types of curls and hammer curls that way, just holding by the handle. Yeah, here we're going to go to some sitting on the bench or just do a couple concentration type lifts, kind of a traditional thing you might see in bodybuilding. You don't take any leverage factor out of it whatsoever. And we'll do basically what you would call a hammer curl with your forearm or your elbow resting around your thigh. Basically grabbing the kettlebell like this and slowly bringing it up to your chest or head level. Fighting the grip once again. Get a good tight grip. Just like that. Bring it down. Very slowly. Fight against it. Once again. Constantly fighting, maintaining your grip. This will work your entire forearm. It's a great exercise for arm wrestlers that are pulling back pressure. Working your wrist, pulling back this way. Puts a lot of stress on your last two fingers, but your entire hand, also your thumbs. Okay, so great for any kind of arm wrestler or wrestler like that. But basically, I like to call that the hammer curl, the concentration curl with the hammer pull. Okay, another illustration here, just a basic curl, concentration curl, locking out the kettlebell on the handle, keeping it in front of you at all times. We'll do a few reps there. You always have to start with a very tight grip when you first start like this. And once again, if the kettlebell ever starts to slip out of your hand, either let it go or stop it with your other hand. Just a basic curling motion. Once again, this would be very, very good for arm wrestlers. Or really for any type of person trying to develop their grip whatsoever. A couple more here. Now what I'll show you here from this position, once again, we always got to think about safety. So if you can't maintain your grip and it wants to slide down like this, or you can't start with it in that position, if you don't have a light enough kettlebell or whatever, just use your hand right here. And if you start to lose it coming down, you might even keep a finger on it to help you if it starts to get away, just like this. Just kind of a little bit of a support system there. Then little by little, you can let the pressure off where you can completely hold it with just your grip strength. show you another one here, basically just kind of a two-handed hammer curl, or reverse curl, so to speak. Like I said, normally with this you can handle a little bit of weight. You're sitting down, concentrating in a chair, and you can handle a little bit of weight if you want, but we'll just use this kettlebell. You're going to grab it like this, bring it up, slowly let it work towards your grip, and fight to keep your kind of your wrist cocked back. And what you can do, if most kettlebells, you can get your hands in here. Like in this particular one, you can see I can get both hands in here on the handle. So we could also do it this way as well. Kind of a frontal raise like that. Maintaining your grip at all times. Just a couple other variations there. Okay, I'm going to do a basic, what I call a wrist curl with the kettlebell. And some of these exercises, once again, because of lack of time or whatever, I'm just using one hand. You normally use both hands and do equal reps, but just kind of to save time, I'm using my right or left. This is a wrist curl, and very, very difficult lift, and you may need some support with your other hand on that. We'll start off basically the other way. And you can lock it up in position like that. Come down and lock it, bring it to the top, lock it, bring it to the top, just like that. These are very, very slow motions. You don't want to do anything jerky because you have to keep that constant grip on there at all times. Now, many of you, even with a very light kettlebell, will find that difficult to keep. In other words, when you're right here, the kettlebell will want to slide back in your hand, okay? So once again, as I mentioned with some of the exercises, simply use your other hand for support, and even to place the kettlebell. So basically, you could actually just support it right here with your left hand, for example. When it comes back, grip with your right hand, but leave your left hand there. If you need help, keep the fingers on it, just like that. Try to also, when it starts to come up this way, it's not as heavy, try to remove your hand so you can develop strength up in that area. And once again, use that hand if you need the support, okay? Just start slow with that one and build up on that one. You'll develop incredible wrist strength and hand strength with that particular exercise. Okay, I'm going to show you an exercise here we call the wrist rotation. And very, very good exercise. Once again, with safety, start very, very slow, and actually use your other hand as a support. And I'll do a couple sides with it. Basically, grab a very light kettlebell, lock it in this position, and I slowly turn it this way, lock it, bring it back. Just basically turn your wrist. Now, it's a very difficult exercise, so I strongly suggest with this one, even for someone that's advanced with kettlebells, got a strong grip, particularly at the start, just keep that supporting hand there. Even if you're not really using that hand, just keep it there for safety's sake. Do nothing else, let it fall on that hand, so if it does turn your wrist over, you won't get your wrist turned, it'll go right to the hand, okay? Just like that. The other hand, it's the same way, just lock it up in position, turn it over, like that, maintaining the grip. Once again, I'm not using any support here because I'm used to the exercise and I know I can hold it, but I encourage you just to keep your opposite hand right there for safety's sake. Even if you can hold it, keep it right there just in case, because your wrist is not, it's a good position for gaining strength, but you don't want to be strained there by any means, okay? So always keep your other hand there for support, even once you can maintain the exercise, okay? But that's one of the best ones that you'll find. Like I said, just start kind of slow and build yourself up on it. I showed you a lot of different exercises. You may want to do all these, but you'll probably find 2 or 3 or 4 of them you like particularly well for your own battlefield, and you can work on those particularly. If your time's limited, I would suggest doing one of the lockout presses, the flow of that, and then maybe like a frontal curl, and maybe one like on the concentration exercise that I showed you. Okay. And now I'm going to show you one very good supporting exercise just for your lower arm strength in general. It's not with a kettlebell, but I just want to throw it in there because I think it's a very functional exercise to go with any kind of grip training. I'm going to show you another variation here with 2 kettlebells together. We got a couple, I believe they're around 28, 29 pounds. Like I said, weight doesn't really matter. You want to start with something in the 20s, maybe 30, 35. Just kind of get a feel for it. You might be able to use a little extra weight on this one. This one's going to work your grip, but also your chest. Before I showed you, we were grabbing the kettlebells, pushing in on the balls. Now we're going to push in on the actual handles, okay? So get a couple kettlebells about the same weight. So these are about 28 pounds. And I'm going to crush in on the side of the handles, okay? Basically just get a good bond, crush in like that. Just keep your momentum like that, hanging on to it. Again, you can set them down. Now what you can do from there, I want to show you that the momentum is crushing in, keeping a very, very tight grip on the handles at all time. If you start to lose your grip or your suction there, just kind of let them go or grab a hold of them, push them to the ground or whatever. But if you don't keep the momentum going in with your chest, you won't be able to complete the lift, okay? See, they separated a little bit there. We're crushing them in. Now you can actually do like somewhat of a curl motion. Putting a lot of stress on the wrist here. Working on your grip as well as your upper body, okay? And just bring them to the ground. But that's another unique lift I like to do from time to time. Works your entire body with the emphasis on your lower arms. Okay, I'll show you another kettlebell exercise here, crushing them in together with the handles. In the last one you notice that the handles were turned this way, upwards, like this. Now we're going to turn them down, going towards the ground like that. Another one. This puts takes a lot of strength around your wrist, grip, lower arms there. Give you a little illustration here. And there's a variety of things you can do with these too. I'm just giving you a few different illustrations. Get a good tight bond here. And row. See how they're trying to separate at all times? Even with those 28-pound kettlebells, that exercise puts a lot of stress on your grips, lower arm, crushing them together and kind of almost turning your wrist like a wrist curl to keep them from separating. But that's another one, a very, very good exercise to work with to develop lower arm strength and as well as your chest and shoulders. Okay, show you one more here with the double kettlebells where you're grabbing the handles. The other two I showed you as well as this one. They look very similar, but they feel different on your wrist and hands. They're all working lower arm strength and grip and wrist, but got a different feel to them. This again, we're going to turn the kettlebells in this direction, be out on the ends, but kind of right there on the sides as well, and keep a good pressure going in and tight. Clean them up, press them, bring them down to position. They're trying to separate at all times. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a very difficult lift. Never put it over your head, keep it in front of you, as I stated earlier. And bring it back to the ground. That exercise also trains your thumbs a lot. And like I was said, when you bring it overhead, if you want to, you can clean it or you can press it slightly like I was. Something like that, don't ever put it directly over the top of your head in case it slips. If you break the grip on it, just let them swing down or even let them drop to the ground. Always think about safety. And once again, start light with those. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 different exercises here before we're keeping a stable kettlebell in our hands. We're going to do just a few tosses now, not necessarily juggles like I specialize in, but just some basic stuff. where you're using your grips. And once again, we're going to use about a 28-pound kettlebell. And basically this is just kind of stopping it in the hammer curl position, like you're kind of bottoms up. So kind of just a hammer curl catch, if you will. All right, and just kind of swing it up like this and catch it, lock it right there, right like that. So you're trapping it next to your body with my elbow if you have to, but you're using your grip right here to stop the kettlebell, okay? Just kind of toss it, catch it, toss it, catch it, lock it in position. If the kettlebell's too heavy, it wants to go down, you can obviously just swing it down, let it go, just like that, or you can attempt to stop it with your other hand. But just basically, like I said, just catch it and lock it, catch it and lock it. Lock it. You can clean it if you want and press it. Different illustrations that way. Show you catching with in the curl position. Basically, just going to toss it and catch it in the curl. Puts a lot of much more emphasis. That's a pretty good grip exercise. This one's much more difficult. So you can kind of just swing your kettlebell, catch it this way, in a curl position with your wrist out. Catch it and lock it. See how it's trying to turn my wrist over? Catch it and lock it. Catch it and lock it. Catch it and lock it. Just like the kettlebell curl out to the front. Just catch it and lock it. But once it go down, just let it go. You can use your other hand to support a little bit if you can't quite stop it, just like that. But once again, always think of safety. Very good exercise. You're working your entire arm there, your grip, your wrist, that leverage. Very difficult, even with a lighter weight, something like 25 pounds, 30 pounds is plenty to start with. I'm using, for lack of time, I'm using my right hand or a left mostly, but as always, try to do equal reps with each hand. If one hand or hand is not as strong, just do the best you can and use the supporting with your other hand. Okay, I'll show you one more exercise here with the kettlebell in the air called the clean toss, basically. And this is a somewhat of a difficult exercise. It'll take you a little time maybe to get used to it, but it's a safe exercise, and I'll show you how to look at the safety aspect if you can't hold the kettlebell. Once again, we're going to use a small kettlebell. This is about 28 pounds. Basically, you can start a number of ways. We're just going to pick it up and kind of just put it in a clean position here to your right hand, okay? And just kind of toss it and catch it. See how I caught it right in midair there, okay? Just kind of catch it and don't let it come down. Catch it and catch it with your grip right there. Locking it down. Just let it go. Very difficult position because you're not only fighting against the weight of the kettlebell, you're fighting against the momentum of the kettlebell coming down. So you're actually stopping a lot heavier kettlebell. I can actually do a kettlebell around 53 pounds in this position. Pretty tough on the skin of your hands. Now, obviously, if you can't catch the kettlebell, it'll go right into the clean position as so, okay? You catch it. This time we're not going to catch it. We're going to act like we can, but we can't. Just let it go to the clean position. In other words, right like that. Just let it go right in there. The safety aspect, okay? Or if you lose track of it, just let it go to the ground, push it away. I'll just do a couple more the right way. Just kind of toss it like that. Catch it and lock it with your grip. Catch it and lock it. Bring it down. Catch it, lock it. Couple more. Catch it and lock it one more time, okay? I call that the clean toss. Very advanced exercise for your grip. You got to really bite down on it. Like I said, 28-pound kettlebells, it's going to feel twice as heavy in your hand. You're going to toughen your hands up. Start kind of slow on that one. You can rip some skin on your hands if you're not used to something like that too. But very good exercise for building your grip. One of the best there is. You can go, like I showed you earlier, you can actually go into a pressing motion with that if you'd like. We'll just start over here. Come over, and then you got it to the press position. You can press it, toss it, press it, keeping that grip on it. Kind of the sky's the limit. There's a variety of things you can do there. But that would be one to try that one out, and it'll definitely take you to the next level. Okay, like I said, I'm just going to show you one good supporting exercise. Everything we showed today was with kettlebells, but I'm going to show you this one last exercise that'll help you pretty much with any kind of grip strength. It's fun, motivation exercise as well. And basically, you know, I've got a small bucket of water here, small but wide. Sometimes I use a 5-gallon bucket. You can use like a mop bucket. It doesn't really matter. The size of the towel could vary, whatever you decide to use. We've got a basic towel here, just a pretty good sized bath towel, and it's already moderately wet. We were messing with it earlier. But what I'm going to do is just go ahead and submerge it completely in the water. Okay, I'm going to let it sit there for a couple, briefly. And what you can do on your bucket, whether it's with duct tape or magic marker, wherever the water level is, make some type of mark where you know where the top of that water level is. You can't see this one on the film, but there's actually kind of a little indentation around this bucket right where the water level came up to. So now that our towel is completely submerged, the idea is to take the towel out, and some of you have seen like the old ants and people when they get the clothes off the clothesline or take it outside, they're twisting the water out the towels, trying to wrench it out of the clothing. Kind of like that, but what we're going to do, the object of the game is we're going to try to get as much water out of the towel and basically put as much water back in the bucket as when we took the towel out. So in other words, when I take this towel out, the water level is going to be much lower because so much water is on the towel. I'm going to try to twist this towel so tightly, putting the water back in the bucket, that is the exact same amount of water and it has the same level as when I took it out, okay? So you want to try to stay over the top of the bucket because some of the water obviously can spill out onto the ground, and that's okay. But basically we're going to try to maintain the water level. And I'm not going to squeeze it quite as long as I normally would for time's sake, okay? But you want to squeeze as tight as you can and twist it. And just twist that towel. And the idea is to try to make this towel bone dry. If you can actually get the towel almost bone dry before you move to the next level, you'll actually get the water level the same. I've been blessed I can get the water level the same. I've never met anybody else that can get the water level exactly the same. Now we're not going to take so much time to get it exactly bone dry because of time's sake, but you're getting the idea. You just grab, you squeeze and you twist, and also you're greatly using your thumbs with this exercise as well, okay? You can change hands, whatever you want to do, and just try to fight. If you have a good sized wide bucket, most of the water, if not all the water, will go right back in the bucket, okay? And I'm just trying to squeeze it so tight before I move on. And this will take you several good minutes if you can get it in real life. Like I said, we're doing it quicker because we're being taped here. But it'll take you several minutes to get it like that. It'll give you an incredible pump in your hands and your forearms. As a matter of fact, you can actually pack some size on your forearms with this exercise if you wish to do that. You're in the bodybuilding, okay? Great for the arm wrestler, combative exercise, the grappler. Anything you may want to do, any kind of strongman feats. And I just let the towel go off to the side where I don't spill any of the water back, okay? The water level is getting fairly close to as much as I took out. Not to that point because I'm not taking my time. I'm going fast just to show you the idea, okay? You just kind of keep twisting and twisting and twisting. Don't move on until that level's pretty well bone dry. Once again, you have a water level here. Try to put the water level back to parallel with the water going in the bucket. But try that exercise a couple times a week. It's going to take you several minutes. Probably that might be the last thing you want to do because it's going to burn your forearms and hands up pretty good. But try that one. It'll greatly enhance your lower arm strength. Okay, talk just a little bit about kettlebells. Like I said, most of you guys, if you're getting this DVD, you're already into kettlebells, obviously, and you probably have a variety of them. But kettlebells, I guess, can come from anywhere from about 10 pounds all the way up to about 150 or so. And just got a few right here. Got some Dragon Door kettlebells, traditional 53-pound kettlebell, 70-pound kettlebell from Dragon Door. I believe that's a 35. Most of the kettlebells we'll be using come from Dragon Door. There's some larger kettlebells that go up to around 130, 150 pounds I get from Max Kettlebells. In the near future, go to our website, gridironwarrior.com, and we're actually going to be having a couple fun challenge sports. One of them is called the Hammerhead Challenge Sport. And what the Hammerhead Challenge Sport is kind of a variety of different disciplines around the world, 5 or 6. You'll have to compete in back-to-back. Some will have kettlebells involved, some huge hammers. some different stones, things like that. We're going to have some events with it for fun and for sport also, but when we use the word challenge, we don't mean actually we're challenging like poking fingers. We want to challenge people to get in better condition, motivate themselves, and try to move to a higher level in not only their fitness and conditioning, but also just their mental outlook. So that's why we started the Hammerhead Challenge Sport. John Bruni and myself will be we were the inventors of that. We'll be in charge of putting that together. We've already got some competitors like Dave Campbell of Georgetown football, Shan Housekeeper. He was an All-American football player with the Lexington Horsemen. Some different people like that, some other top athletes in the world will be doing the Hammerhead Challenge Sport. It'll just be a lot of fun. One of the events we're going to be using is huge sledgehammer striking. I specialize in that. Hammer swinging is one of the best things you can do. So one of the events, of course, Hammerhead Sport will be the sledgehammers from Torque Athletic. They got a website, www.torqueathletic.com. But you can go on there and get some neat implements for strength and fitness, and you can check out the hammers. We'll be using hammers in excess of 50 pounds, actually, 50 pounds and above for different categories. So check that out. I'll show you a little demonstration here in just a second with one of the hammers, but just wanted to show you some different kettlebells. But like I said, you can go on our website and click on the Dragon Door or Buy Kettlebells thing on our website and pretty much find what you need. If you want some bigger kettlebells, let us know. We can get them through Max Kettlebells. Okay, speaking of the hammers, once again, basically one of the events in the Hammerhead Challenge Sport that you'll be seeing on the website, gridironwarrior.com, is basically hammer swinging, and it's an endurance event. This particular hammer is a 50-pounder. Like I said, I've got hammers from 30, well over 50, up to 70 or even higher. And there'll be different events. We're not going to have weight classes. We're just going to have different classifications. Basically, when we use a couple tires like this, and they come about halfway up my shins or a little less. So basically, the object is just to beat the tire into or the hammer rather into the tire. We'll go a certain amount of times, and whoever gets the most strikes is the winner. But just show you a little example. And the reason I'm showing you is I want to tell you about the sport, but also this is one of the best ways you can build up your grip, because heavy hammer swinging also highlights and emphasizes similar as kettlebells. You're working the same muscles in your back, your core, your hands, the whole bit. Actually, the hammers, to be honest with you, are a little more difficult than the heavy kettlebells. So I encourage some of you guys to try it. And like I said, these special-made gym hammers do come from Torque Athletic, okay? TorqueAthletic.com. I'll just hit it a few times each side to kind of see what we're talking about here. Obviously, take a good grip on your hammer because it is 50 pounds, pretty thick handle. You just beat your tire like that. And we'll go for time. You can change hands off, whatever you'd like to do. I usually go 10, 15 times on one side, and then I'll turn to the other side. But you get the idea. It's just incredible exercise. Works your entire back. Very aerobic, anaerobic. Works your cardiovascular system greatly. You got to be in very good shape to last very long with a hammer like this. But you can see, obviously, safety. Think about safety. Start with a lighter hammer, get used to it. But you get the idea. That's going to be one of the events in our sport. So take a look at it on the gridironwarrior.com with the Hammerhead Challenge Sport. Well, this concludes the training DVD. We call it a top secret kettlebell training they don't want you to know about. Basically, obviously, as you can see, it's just unique exercises that I kind of invented or messed with in my backyard. And I like to field test everything for a long time to make sure it's a good functional exercise and safe. So I think everything I showed you here will take you to the next level, and you can kind of choose and pick what you like. But a lot of people ask me about the grip strength. I wrote the books on grip strength, and they always ask me how to train grip training with kettlebells. And of course, kettlebells in general do work your grip strength, but as you can see today, you can take it to the next level, even incorporating some of the regular kettlebell lifts, and just train your grip that much harder, okay? And just kind of pick a few out and do the best you can. Also, I encourage you, look at our website, gridironwarrior.com, and the torque hammers that we use, I mentioned, with the Hammerhead challenge sport, take a look at that. We're also going to have another system I won't share with you much now, but it's called the Tap Out Fitness Challenge. It'll be a series of events where you work with a partner basically to encourage one another to do better. It can also be a competitive sport. Somebody will have to give up or basically tap out or quit, and one will be a winner. So take a look at that on our website too. The towel exercise I showed you there at the end, wringing the water out of the towel back into the bucket. Try that one. That's going to work for anything you do. Arm wrestling builds up forearm strength a whole bit. Definitely encourage you to try that one too. But just keep up the good work in your training, and look for good things out of us in the future, and we'll look for good things out of you.